Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pre-Market News and Views by In the Money Stocks. Today is Thursday, February 2nd, 2012. A lot to cover, so let's get right into the charts here. I'm going to start off with the S&P 500 E-mini futures, which are trading down by about 1 point, right around that 1319 level. Again, not a big decline for the futures, but overnight, futures have come in pretty sharply from the 1325 level. That usually tells us that the U.S. dollar index has strengthened a little bit. And sure enough, that is the case this morning. Take a look at the dollar. The dollar really around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning started to move higher. And ever since the dollar moved up, the futures have moved down. Futures is just slightly into negative territory. Really not that big a deal. But the dollar is holding up very, very well ahead of the opening bell. Now, what traders need to watch out for and pay attention to today is if the dollar falls like it normally does once the opening bell rings at the New York Stock Exchange around 9:30 in the morning East Coast time. So once that happens, we'll see if the dollar can hold up, or if the dollar falls, the market will inflate and trade higher like it does almost each and every day. So that's what traders need to watch for. Almost every day the dollar falls, and once the opening bell rings, and that inflates the stock market. Until that relationship is broken, you have to continue to watch for that because it happens day in and day out each and every day. So that's what we're going to watch for today. See if that happens. If the dollar strengthens, then the market will deflate. If the dollar weakens, the market will inflate and trade higher. Alrighty, let's take a look at a few things out there today. Going over the charts, I did see the Asian markets last night really rallied strongly. The Shanghai index, which is the most important index in Asia, was up nearly 2%. Hang Seng was up 2%. And then Nikkei was up, I believe, 0.75%. So, pretty good move across the board. The Indian Sensex was up about 0.75% as well, and Australia was up 1%. So, really a very, very good move for Asia last night, really across the board. And the Shanghai was that's the strongest. So that's probably the most important index that anyone wants to follow at this time, and that bodes well for the Chinese ADRs going forward. Okay, so we'll see how the U.S. markets are today. If the U.S. markets are strong, Chinese ADRs may be in store to catch a little bit of a bid. If the U.S. markets are weak, I wouldn't pay too much attention to the Chinese ADRs. Overall, since the Chinese New Year began, the market was down 2.5%, and it rebounded in one day back up 2%. So basically just slightly down since the Chinese New Year, but that's typical action over there. And the markets, once again are having these big, big swings in both directions. So let's not focus too much on that. Let's talk a little bit about Europe today. I believe there were two bond auctions that went okay, one in Spain and one in France. It looks like you have a flat market in Europe really across the board right now, ahead of the U.S. markets opening up at 9:30. Now I'm recording this right now. It's at 8:24 a.m. So a lot can happen in about an hour. But let's go over some stocks here that we're looking at. First, we'll talk about the GLD this morning. Spot gold is down about 2 points. GLD is trading right at 169.62. So again, not a whole lot of activity there on the GLD at the moment. If you take a look at oil today, here's the USO. You'll see that's at 37.25. Crude is lower today. So the stronger dollar is having an effect on oil. Just notice that crude is down by nearly 1 point on WTI spot. That's trading at around $96.75 a barrel. So crude going down on the back of a stronger dollar. But if that dollar starts to fall, and it may, okay, and it may because we see it each and every day, and no sooner do I say that, it's starting to tick down a little bit. But if the dollar starts to fall, that will help boost oil, gasoline, and every other commodity. Okay, so that's what you got to watch for this morning to see if the stronger dollar turns into the weaker dollar by the end of the day. That is usually what happens, and until that relationship breaks, that's what you have to watch for at the moment. All right, there's a lot of stocks that we should go over today. Let's go over some main ones from yesterday. Let's talk about Qualcomm. Qualcomm caught a big bid after the close yesterday after reporting earnings. The stock is overbought. I do not know or think that it's going to go a lot further from here, but nonetheless, Qualcomm has had a very, very good move this morning. If you own it, congratulations. I would start to take some profits. If you don't own it, then basically you don't want to touch it. Okay? So again, it's overbought, overextended, even though it's earnings. I just don't see it going a lot higher from here. Okay, so that's what we're watching for Qualcomm. Let's take a look at Abercrombie and Fitch. I'm not sure of the news here, but I am seeing the stock get hit pretty sharply. I wouldn't touch the stock. It does have some support at 40. Got a little intraday bounce. After this, though, this stock wants to go down to around $37.90, $37.85. Maybe you'll get a little bit of a bid there. But other than that, it's in a downtrend, and it's a nasty, nasty sell-off today. That was coming off of a good bullish pattern. So the gap down looks to be pretty solid to me, pretty strong gap down. Watch for that thing to go lower. Let's take a look at Chipotle Mexican Grill, everybody's favorite fast food restaurant. Chipotle got a little bit of a sell-off, although it's bounced back. The volume on this stock is very, very light. This name I do not play because of the light volume, but nonetheless, it's trading down a little bit. I don't think there's really anything damaging going on here. But nonetheless, it's trading down a little bit this morning. Nothing I would do with that one. Let's take a look at GMCR, Green Mountain Coffee Roasters. This stock is catching a big bid this morning, has been a beaten down name. Do not touch it up here. Do not touch it up here. You got a big, big gap window right around the $68 level. It might even be around $67. Then ultimately $70 is a wall of resistance. I would not be a buyer of GMCR up here. The gap up is also not a very strong gap up, so it could be a fade candidate into some resistance levels, most likely around the $67 to $68 area. But again, depends on how this market is, but I would not be jumping on the board Green Mountain Coffee Roasters up here at this level. Let's take a look at Sandridge Energy. This stock is also getting hit this morning. A lot of support, though, coming into the stock around the, I'm going to say the well, you have a little bit of support at 670, and then there's much, much more support around 625. So Sandridge will have very, very good support around 625 if it gets down there today. Let's take a look at Zynga, everybody's favorite game company. Facebook reported that Zynga is 12% of its revenues. The stock is overbought. Don't touch it. I wouldn't get into this thing right now. It's overcooked. There's not much you want to do with this name at this point, okay? Let Zynga pull back, and then you could re-examine it down the road. But I think it's up on some hype out of from the Facebook IPO. I would not jump on board that name at this moment. Let's take a look at Merck. I did see that they had news this morning. I think they reported earnings. Stock had an initial sell-off, right back up. Stock looks fine on the daily chart. There's really nothing wrong here. It's not doing a lot, though, at the moment, so be a little bit careful there. But the daily chart is still okay with that one. Let's take a look at Electronic Arts, the video game maker. Had an initial flush, and now it's right back up to the flat line. This stock is also in a downtrend on the daily chart. You got to be a little bit careful there. There's going to be pretty good resistance, I guess, right around this current level, 1955. It really needs to get through this area. Then you're going to hit more resistance around 2030 and then ultimately around 21. Just be careful with the Electronic Arts. I will say this, though. It is a beaten up name, so maybe it does have a little bit of upside left in it, but be very careful with that one. I'm not seeing a whole lot there that I would pay attention to. Let's take a look at Deutsche Bank. I believe they had earnings as well. Stock is trading at $43.52. So trading down a little bit after earnings. This is another one. These bank stocks really trade along with the U.S. dollar index. If the dollar goes down, the banks rally up. If the dollar goes up, the banks seem to sell off and deflate. So again, watch the dollar. It's really the most important chart anyone can follow at the moment. Okay, so that's what you want to watch for. For instance, let me just give you a quick synopsis of what I was talking about there. Here's the chart of the S&P 500. You're going to see that it's moving up. Now take a look here. This is live time at the U.S. dollar index futures, and they're trading down. Okay, so again, dollar down, market up. It looks like weekly initial jobless claims are out. I believe it's 367,000 new weekly claims. I guess that's a little bit better than, but at this stage of the game, who knows what to make of it? Just follow the dollar. Dollar will tell you everything that you need to know. Okay, everyone. With that said, everybody, have a great trading day. I will see you all on the charts tomorrow morning, and good luck here, and we'll see you tomorrow.